Rice is the quietest of giants. It does not tower like wheat in golden fields, nor sprawl like corn across the plains. It grows low, in water, in mud, in the patient hands of farmers who have tended it for thousands of years. And yet this small grain feeds more people than any other food on earth. For roughly half of humanity, rice is not simply a meal. It is the difference between hunger and survival. The story begins more than 10,000 years ago, in the valleys of the Yangtze River in what is now China. There, wild grasses growing along flooded banks were gathered, then slowly tamed. Over countless generations, farmers chose the plants that held their seeds longest, that grew tallest in standing water, that fed the most mouths. From these humble beginnings, a single species, a Rhiza sativa, spread outward across the world. A second species, a Rhiza glaberrima, was domesticated on its own in West Africa, proof that on two distant continents, people reached for the same answer to the same ancient question of how to feed themselves. To grow rice is to work with water. In the flooded fields called paddies, the crop thrives where few others can. Farmers first prepare seedbeds, nurturing young green shoots until they are strong enough to move. Then, bent low beneath the sun, they transplant each seedling by hand into the soft mud. One by one, row by row. It is labor measured not in hours but in seasons. The standing water does more than nourish the plant. It drowns the weeds that would compete with it and shelters the roots in a warm, living broth of soil. For months the fields shimmer like mirrors, reflecting the sky. The plants rise, turn from green to gold, and bow their heavy heads. Then comes the harvest. In many places it is still cut with curved blades, gathered into sheaves, and threshed to free the grain. Elsewhere, great machines move across the paddies, doing in an hour what once took a village a day. The harvested rice must be dried, then milled to strip away its tough outer husk. What remains is the pale grain the world knows, or the brown grain that keeps its nourishing bran. Few crops have shaped human civilization so deeply. Across Asia, the demands of rice farming bound communities together. Irrigation could not be managed by one family alone. It required cooperation, shared labor, and the careful division of water among neighbors. Whole societies organized themselves around the rhythm of planting and flood. Empires rose on the surplus that rice provided. Its grains were counted as wealth, paid as taxes, and stored against famine. In temples and households alike, rice became sacred, scattered at weddings, offered to gods, woven into the very language of life and prosperity. The numbers today are staggering. More than 750 million tons of rice are produced each year. It grows on every continent except Antarctica, from the terraced hillsides of the Philippines to the deltas of the Mekong, from the fields of India to the wetlands of the American South. China and India together account for more than half of all the rice grown on Earth. For billions of people, it provides the daily calories that power work, school, and family. Yet this ancient partnership now faces modern strains. Rice farming consumes enormous quantities of fresh water, drawing on rivers and aquifers already stretched thin. Flooded paddies release methane, a potent greenhouse gas. A warming climate threatens the very deltas where rice grows best, as rising seas push salt into freshwater soils. Scientists and farmers are answering with new methods, hardier varieties, and ways to grow more grain with less water and less harm. Through all of it, the grain endures. From a wild grass on a riverbank to the foundation of nations, rice has followed humanity across 10,000 years and half the planet. It is grown by some of the poorest people on Earth, and it sustains nearly everyone. In each small, simple grain lies an enormous truth, that the things which feed the world are rarely loud, rarely grand, but quietly, faithfully essential.